Good day, and welcome back to the Sussex Files, the channel where we do not read from the palace press release, we read between the lines. If you have been following this series from the beginning, you already know the full picture. Harry was a psychological target. Meghan was a strategic operator. And the suffering they sold to the world was not incidental, it was inventory. But today we get to the most underreported, most misunderstood, and frankly most fascinating relationship in this entire saga. And it is not Harry and Meghan. It is not Harry and Charles. It is Harry and the one man who holds every single card in this entire situation, and who is not blinking. This is episode 4 of the Sussex Files. We are calling it the William question. And what we are about to lay out is something that royal commentators have been dancing around for years without ever quite landing on the truth of it. Because the story of William and Harry is not just a story about two brothers who fell out. It is a story about power, about principle, about an institution that is bigger than both of them, and about one man who understood that from the very beginning, while the other one forgot. Before we open this file, if you are just joining us, welcome to the Sussex Files. We do not do rumors on this channel. We do not do speculation. Every claim we make is evidenced, every analysis is grounded, and every conclusion follows the facts. We are working towards 500 subscribers in 2 weeks. If this channel is giving you the depth of analysis you cannot find anywhere else, subscribe right now, hit that notification bell, and make sure you are there when episode 5 drops. Because episode 5 is the one that nobody in mainstream media has been willing to make. We are calling it the long con, and it is going to change the way you see everything. Subscribe. Click the bell. Now let us get into episode 4.
William being determined that when he becomes king, he will strip Meghan and Harry of their royal titles. Can you just give us a bit more detail?
William absolutely loathes Harry. He despises Meghan. Him and his circle completely blame Meghan for what has happened.
Can they still use the name Sussex if they lose HRH?
Yeah,
they can.
I mean,
okay.
That's absolutely fine. Like, that is not unusual. Like, you'll often, or Eddie Norfolk, or do you know what I mean? All that kind of thing.
So bizarre. English people are so bizarre. These traditions are so odd. They're so odd.
And that is normal. So the Sussex thing is not in danger. It's the HRH bit,
It's
which
the
that's
HRH.
not actual title. It's called a style. But it's you know, the HRH is very rare. It is very valuable, and it is very dangerous if it gets devalued. And I think William's point is that they have devalued it and they have betrayed it, and it can be removed very easily, and it should be. And I think also for William, it's where drawing a line under the whole thing. It's like, stop going on about reconciliation. Let's just not talk about this anymore. We're taking the HRH off you. Good luck. See you later.
Here is where we have to start. Not with the drama, not with the headlines. We have to start with who William actually is. Because the mainstream media has spent 5 years covering the Sussex saga without ever properly examining the man standing at the center of it. Prince William, Prince of Wales, future King of England, is described by virtually every royal insider and expert who has spoken on record as someone with a long memory, a ruthless streak when it comes to institutional loyalty, and an absolute, unwavering commitment to one principle above all others. The monarchy must be protected, not for his own sake, not for vanity, because without the institution, there is nothing, and he will sacrifice almost anything, including the relationship with his brother, to keep that principle intact.
Basis right now, and we've watched him fight with the government and lose. We're still waiting on the latest judgment because Ravik has said that they will relook into it. But it's also basically a giant scheme to work Harry and Meghan back into the British royal family, because Harry realizes that Dr. Sophie Shandaka was right. His brand has taken a huge hit, and he's no one without that proximity to the British royal family. And as Bauer points out, it's not working in his favor right now because the palace won't budge. Maybe King Charles gave it some consideration, but with Prince William by his side, can he risk that? Prince William doesn't want to be anywhere near his brother and doesn't trust his brother to be back into the fold.
Royal expert Helena Chard put it plainly to Fox News Digital just weeks ago. She said that monetizing the monarchy is an absolute anathema to William, that the royal family does not trust Harry and Meghan, and that William has a long memory. He does not forget who damaged the institution, who stays silent, and who overshares and torches trust. Journalist Roya Nika, one of the most well-connected royal correspondents in Britain, described William as someone who holds a grudge and chooses sides. Her exact words were these: "If someone picks the other side, he remembers that." That is not a description of a man who is going to be moved by a public apology or a carefully worded press briefing. That is a description of a man who made his decision, filed it away, and moved on, while his brother is still, 5 years later, trying to get back through the door. Now let us look at the specific nature of the impasse, because this is where the detail becomes genuinely extraordinary. According to royal insiders speaking to multiple outlets as recently as May 2026, and we are talking about intelligence from last week, the disagreement between William and King Charles over Harry is hardened into what one source described as a deeply rooted impasse, with both camps firmly entrenched. Charles, who is dealing with his own health challenges, reportedly wants some form of repair. He wants to see his grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet, whom he has not laid eyes on in 4 years. He wants to leave a legacy of family unity, not family fracture. By multiple accounts, Charles is the one pushing for what insiders have nicknamed Project Thaw, a quiet, behind-the-scenes effort to rebuild some kind of relationship with Harry before it is too late. And William, according to those same insiders, is blocking it, actively and deliberately. Let that sink in for a moment. The King of England is being defied by his own heir on the question of whether to make peace with his other son. That is how serious William's position is. That is how deeply the betrayal runs. And that is how completely the Spare memoir, the Oprah interview, the Netflix documentary, and every other public disclosure has destroyed the trust that once existed between these two brothers. According to Queen Elizabeth's former press secretary Elsa Anderson, William has one clear and non-negotiable condition for any future reconciliation. Harry and Meghan must completely stop monetizing their royal status. Every deal that trades on the Sussex title, every interview that references the palace, every documentary that uses their position in the line of succession as its commercial engine, all of it must stop. And the reason that condition is so devastating for Harry is that if he accepted it, he would have nothing left to sell. His entire commercial identity, his entire post-royal business model, is built on the very thing William is demanding he abandon. The royal connection is the product. Remove it, and the product ceases to exist. This is the William question that nobody is asking clearly enough. It is not whether William will forgive Harry. It is whether Harry can survive commercially without the identity that William is demanding he give up. And the answer, based on everything we have examined in this series, is almost certainly no. Now let us talk about what the impasse actually looks like on the ground right now, because the intelligence here is very recent and very specific. Harry met with King Charles privately at Clarence House in September 2025, their first meeting in 19 months. By multiple accounts, it was warm. There were hugs. There were tears. There was genuine emotion from both men. And then nothing happened. No follow-up. No second meeting. Charles's April 2026 visit to the United States came and went without a single private engagement between father and son. A source told Us Weekly there are simply no plans for any meeting between Harry and Charles in the foreseeable future. And between Harry and William, the communication is described by insiders as almost non-existent. Not strained, not difficult, almost non-existent. Harry is knocking on a door, and William has not just declined to open it. He has bricked it up from the inside. And here is what makes this particularly interesting from an analytical perspective. On Harry's side of the story, there have been repeated briefings to press about healing, about wanting reconciliation, about taking small manageable steps. His team has been quietly signaling openness to repair for months. Meanwhile, on William's side, there has been near total silence. No briefings, no signals, nothing, which tells you everything you need to know about the relative positions of these two men. Harry needs this reconciliation. He needs it emotionally, because by his own account he is a man who has always sought to feel chosen by his family. He needs it reputationally, because the ongoing estrangement is damaging to the Sussex brand in ways that are becoming commercially significant. And he needs it symbolically, because without some form of connection to the royal family, the entire Sussex narrative of being royal adjacent becomes harder and harder to sustain. William, by contrast, needs nothing from Harry. He has the institution. He has the heir. He has the future. He is not the one who left. He is not the one running a lifestyle brand in California. He is not the one who destroyed the family trust with a 416-page memoir. He is the Prince of Wales, preparing to be king. And he is prepared to wait for as long as it takes. Let us now examine what William is actually protecting, because this is the part of the analysis that nobody covers properly. When royal commentators talk about William's position, they often frame it as personal pride or grudge holding. That framing, frankly, is lazy. What William is protecting is something much larger and more consequential than his feelings about his brother. He is protecting the foundational principle of the British monarchy, that those who carry the title carry the responsibility. That the institution is not a commercial brand to be leveraged. That privacy and dignity are not just preferences, but structural necessities for an institution that has survived centuries precisely because it does not conduct its private business on American primetime television. Every time Harry used his royal title as collateral for a media deal, he was not just embarrassing the family. He was undermining the principle that William has built his entire identity around protecting. And William, who watched Diana be destroyed by the media, and then watched Harry use the media as a weapon against the same institution Diana served, is not going to pretend that can be walked back with a handshake. Royal expert Hilary Fordwich, who we have referenced across this series, described William's approach not as ruthless, but as strong, admirable leadership based on loyalty and dedication to duty. She said he is good at setting boundaries and sticking to them, and that under William's future reign, we will see a far tighter circle to protect the institution. In other words, the future king has already decided who is inside the circle and who is not, and his brother, right now, is not inside it. So where does this leave the Sussex situation as we stand in 2026? It leaves Harry in the most uncomfortable position he has occupied since he boarded the plane to California. He is too royal to be fully accepted in Hollywood, where the victim narrative is wearing thin and the Netflix deal has been significantly downgraded. And he is too compromised, in William's eyes, to return to the fold of the royal family. He is suspended between two identities, neither of which is fully available to him. The spare who left to escape the trap found himself, yet again, trapped. Only this time there is no institution to blame. He built this cage himself, board by board, interview by interview, memoir chapter by memoir chapter. And William, steady, silent, institutional, immovable, is not going to open the door until Harry is willing to pay the price. The question is whether Harry will ever be willing to pay it. And the even more interesting question is whether, by the time he is willing, the door will still be there. In episode 5, we follow the money and the timeline even further back. Because if you think what we have covered so far is damning, wait until you see the evidence that this was never a love story at all. Episode 5 is the long con, and it is going to lay out the full sequence of moves, from the TIG blog to the Archwell Foundation, that suggests every step of this was planned long before anyone was supposed to see it. If this episode gave you something to think about, hit the like button right now. It costs nothing, and it means everything for this channel. Subscribe if you have not already. Click that notification bell, and we will see you in episode 5. Thank you for watching the Sussex Files. The case is getting closer to its conclusion.